Let me first say thank you, Solange. Start by recognizing amongst us the dignitaries, our chairperson of the Standards Council, Mr. Cotchell George, who brought greetings and who had to leave because of certain familial responsibilities. Our director, who I gather is online, Dan Rodriguez. Martin Cave, the executive director of the Antigua and Barbuda Chamber of Commerce, not the Nigerian one. Of course, I recognize we may not be in line now, Derek Omar, the CEO of CrossQ, my own permanent secretary in the Ministry of Trade, Mrs. Laura Burton Piper. I know Dr. Charles is a member of the Quality Awards Committee, but I think in his own right, as someone leading the charge at UE5 Islands, Doc, I welcome you to this morning's session. I've never spoken on an occasion like this where the national media is present and not recognize them. And so, where our numbers are small for this session, we depend on ABS to carry this very important message of quality, standards and quality to the rest of the Antigua Barbuda community. I must say also good morning to my beautiful staffers. You're looking so resplendent. But as Minister with responsibility for standards and quality and for the wider trade portfolio, it gives me great pleasure to address you this morning for this milestone in the journey of the Bureau of Standards, the Ministry of Trade, and by extension, Antigua and Barbuda, as we launch our National Quality Awards program. On this occasion, it's equally important that I acknowledge the long-standing relationship between CARICOM, CARIFORUM, and the EU. And to the EU to say thanks for their continued support, in this instance through the 11th EDF for the funding provided. It is noteworthy and certainly worthy of noting that I pay deference to the objectives of the 11th EDF, namely identification closure of gaps in the key sectors in our economy and organizations, promotion of quality culture, not only in Antigua Barbuda, but throughout the region, the CARIFORUM region. And members here would know that Antigua Barbuda currently holds the chair of CARIFORUM. So again, this morning's activity is so important. It is showing that we are not only talking the talk, but walking the talk by our own declaration this morning of our Quality Awards initiative. And then the third objective of the 11th EDF is the strengthening of regional quality infrastructure. So if you look at those objectives and the funding provided by the EU, our being here this morning is really symbolic. It is significant because it places Antigua and Barbuda in a frame with all other CARIFORUM nations, giving that commitment to ensuring that quality becomes the central focus and part of national life. It is in this regard that all national standard bodies in the CARIFORUM region have been beneficiaries of projects and programs of which the establishment of the National Quality Awards is just one. The National Quality Awards will especially facilitate the promotion of a quality culture, and by extension, recognition of the main objectives in closing quality gaps in Antigua and Barbuda's economic landscape for contribution to strengthening of the regional quality infrastructure, which I outlined as one of the objectives of the EU 11 EDF initiative. You must also recognize the sterling efforts of CrossQ Secretariat, its management and staff, who have been unwavering and unrelenting as liaisons for the implementation of the technical barriers to trade component of the 11th EDF. I certainly want to applaud the CEO, the technical officers, and other members of staff at CrossQ for their relentless engagement. The relentless engagement at a regional level, but to bring it closer home, for the relentless engagement with our own Bureau standards for the attainment of this initiative, this goal set out by the 11th EDF. In like manner, the Bureau standards efforts to maintain contributions to the development of regional standards and the consequent adoption as national standards highlights the dedication of standards development as a foundational pillar of quality infrastructure and the basis of the other pillars of quality such as metrology. And metrology, you know, is another of the initiatives funded under the 11th EDF. It is fair that I pay recognition and show deference to the work of CrossQ. But there's an old saying, a king has honor in his own country. And in that regard, I want to just spend a little time to say just how much I, as your minister, recognize and appreciate the sterling contributions made by Ms. Rodriguez, Solange, and other staff members at our Bureau. I also want to at this time salute and thank the volunteers who comprise the National Quality Awards Committee. And for national recognition of their services, I want to name them with ABS as my able assistant. Name them for public recognition. The chairperson of the National Quality Awards Committee is Senator Chanel Gavaya. It's also noteworthy that I identify the fact that it's a coming together of key sectors, not only personalities, but key sectors, to ensure that this National Quality Awards Committee and the work they do for on behalf of Antigua Barbuda bears a reflection of the makeup of a society. So Senator Gavaya, she serves from the Office of the Prime Minister. Ms. Jamaica Carbon Constant, she serves from the headquarters in the Ministry of Trade. Mrs. Patrice Christian Simon, she serves from the Antigua and Barbuda Hotels and Tourism Association, while Ms. Kenneth Tong Roberts serves from the Ministry of Agriculture. Peter Williams serves from my office, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Trade, while Jacqueline Yearwood serves from Abaya. And we've heard from the representative of the Chamber of Commerce. It's ever present Martin Cave, can't miss him, physical structure. Dr. Curtis Charles, who I would have welcomed in my opening salvo from UE5 Islands. And of course, from the Secretariat in the Bureau Standards, Mrs. Solange Benjamin Baptiste. And I, again, be very careful to mention these names, because as quality and this quality awards program takes root, it is only fair that people of this country know who are the persons, the drivers, the movers and shakers of this very important development in national life. I think it's also apropos And I mentioned two of those sectors or subsectors present in the committee. One, the Hotel and Tourism Association, represented by Mrs. Patrice Christian Simon, because that, as we know, is the bane, the very nerve of the Antiguan economy. And so to have quality assurance in that key sector of national life speaks to the importance that we attach to this particular initiative that we're today launching. The other person I wish to mention by name and organization is Dr. Charles. Name being mentioned a third time since I came to the podium 4 minutes ago. And that's because UE represents something new, something fresh in our society. It speaks to a vision of empowerment. Building an economic powerhouse is a shared vision of this nation. But we can't build a powerhouse without education. And so to have Dr. Charles and UE representing on this particular committee, again serves to drill down into the bedrock, so to speak, of the government's vision, the government's mission, the government's plan, where quality is concerned and where education of our nation is concerned. And so let me at this time, thank all of the members of the committee for volunteering their time to serve, clearly understanding and accepting a national assignment at a key and critical time. At a time we're called upon to reset the economic clock of Antigua Barbuda, building back stronger post-COVID. You put this committee into context and the work is called upon to do in context, we realize that its timing is so important. And so let me implore committee members to continue, as you have been going, to really give to this country's commitment to this regional effort of building quality, ensuring good standards, that you deliver on the expectations of moving business in Antigua Barbuda upwards and forwards. I saw what I sat on the table on the program, on the flip side of the program, a write-up by the Bureau of Standards. And I think all I've said a while ago could be encapsulated into the simple one pager. That the National Quality Awards is a useful way of introducing and encouraging the concept and principles of quality as one of the underlying platforms and tools for business development, service excellence, and overall economic development. I think in a nutshell, this statement sums up why we're here this morning. The mission that we all call upon to embrace in the name of Antigua Barbuda and its people. And so to you, Solange, or through you, Solange, to Mrs. Rodriguez, and to the staff members who are here this morning, I thank you for the leadership that you provided with respect to this particular initiative. And for the work you have done over the years where standards are concerned. It's not a fashionable topic. You don't have parties around standards. As a matter of fact, if ABBS put the camera through this room, we get a feel of what it's all about. Better few, yet better is an old philosophical axiom. But we cannot, because we're few numbers, resile away from our understanding of what is required, resile away from what is needed, but rather be encouraged to stride the path, to pull others along on what sometimes seems a lonely and dreary path. I want to show members of the committee, at the end of the day, it will be worth it all. Because again, it's about building on the substructures of our society, of our community. It's about empowering micro businesses, ensuring that there's standards and quality attached to everything they do. Ensuring that at the end of the day, the ultimate that Antigua and Barbuda is identified as a country where you find standards and quality. That to me is the ultimate. It's a very competitive space. Because what we're doing here, all the countries in CARIFORUM are doing the same, have given a commitment to do the same. So it's not Antigua Barbuda alone as one. And most of the countries in this part of the Caribbean, we all thrive on tourism. So what we're seeking to do this morning is to find a competitive edge, to set aside Antigua and Barbuda from the rest of the competition. And it's not just for the Hotel Tourist Association, or for UWE, or for the Bureau of Standards, or for the ministry. It is something that we as a people, as a country, all have to embrace. Former Prime Minister Lester Bird had a phrase, catch the vision and live the dream. If ever it can be applied, is now. I encourage all Antiguans and Barbudas rather to catch the vision of quality, live the dream. We're in a very competitive space, like I said, very competitive. And what this program sets out to do is to set us aside from all others. I can't speak for St. Lucia. I can't speak for Grenada. I can't speak for DR or any other CARIFORUM country. I'm not only speaking about us utilizing the resources made available by the EU. I'm speaking more importantly about a results-oriented, a results-focused approach. Where Antigua and Barbuda, businesses, economic life, social life, show improvement through the adoption of today's initiative or today's launch initiative. I've deliberately veered away from the text that they gave me because I feel very passionately about this subject. For too long and sometimes too often, we compromise on quality, we compromise on standards, yet we expect to get the best results. It just does not happen. There are no shortcuts. There are no quick fixes. This one cannot be treated with a Nescafe mentality. This one requires us doing the work, doubling down, buckling down. And in true VC bird spirit, in true Viv Richards spirit, rise to show the rest of the world that small though we are capable of delivering on a higher plane, higher stage, global levels. And so to those of you gathered, small in number, but a larger audience, this one calls for all of Antigua, all of Barbuda. We can become a powerhouse. We can become an economic powerhouse. We can do just about anything and everything, but it requires that sense of commitment. We can't just commit to the EU and the CARIFORUM, the cross-queue, that we'll be a part of this regional construct. We have to go and deliver, make it happen. Public sector workers, I think Mr. George was quite correct. You have the capacity to do more, to be competitive. The tools are required. I think in this quality program, you have a tool which is not only to work, but a tool which will inspire an entire country to become better, to do better. In fact, to be the best that we can be. And so with those comments, I'll say much more my voice and everything for the campaign trail this evening. I will say I'm very pleased to be here and to declare officially open the launch of this quality program headed by the Bureau of Standards, but more importantly, one which depends on a national buy-in if we're to be successful. God bless.